All right. Welcome, everyone, to From Ideas to Impact, our student showcase, day two. So, on day one, everyone was introduced to our partnership with Catalyst Next. We heard from some UN experts on some student projects. And today we will hear a little bit more. So, we'll start off by talking about a little bit about the presentations that are coming and how they apply to the UN goals. We'll hear some presentations and then we'll go into the Lil Venture Fund winners and announce those. So today, hopefully, we'll hear two student presentations. So Jack will first talk to us about the determinants of financial literacy programs in the US. So Jack examines financial literacy barriers faced by immigrants in the US, revealing that non-native English speakers demonstrate lower financial literacy proportionate to their English proficiency. His research underscores the need for tailored financial education initiatives. And then hopefully we'll hear from Vikram, who has done a comprehensive analysis into the rise of NVIDIA's stock price. Vikram is a 15-year-old honor student from Long Island who analyzed NVIDIA's stock price surge through the company's tech industry dominance and business decisions, showing how increased reliance on artificial intelligence has contributed to their success. And all of this has to do with the impact of student research. So all of the UN goals are available online, and you're welcome to check them out. They cover things like ending poverty, increasing the equity of education. So if you are interested in that, you're also more than welcome to pull up on your computer the UN goals as we go through this research and see if you can spot the relevance. All right, Jack, I'm going to pass this on to you. I'll stop my share and then you're welcome to share yours.
All right, thank you. Give me a quick second to share my screen.
Take your time.
Okay, can we all see this?
Yes, perfect.
All right, perfect. So just to give a quick introduction, my name is Jack Andrichetti. I'm from New Jersey, and I'm going to be presenting my research on financial literacy disparities among immigrants and non-English speakers in the United States, and how this relates to the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And for a quick background on the topic, financial systems are becoming really increasingly complex and much more focused on the individual with the new technologies that arise. So understanding financial concepts is more important than it ever was. And given that, immigrants and non-English speakers face a lot of unique challenges in getting this knowledge. So my research looks at how factors like English proficiency, time spent in the United States, and access to financial education can affect financial literacy and what we can kind of do to improve the economic challenges of these populations. So, like I said before, financial literacy is pretty crucial for navigating today's financial landscape. And with that said, studies show that financial literacy in the US remains quite low overall, especially among ethnic minorities and immigrants. And the disparities between demographic groups usually excuse me, lead to worse financial decisions, which affect economic security in the long run. And this is an issue that affects me and my family personally too. My family's immigrant roots in Mexico and Italy introduced me to these issues and kind of made me explore further into these issues and how language and education affect financial knowledge in immigrants. The aims of my research were to explore financial literacy disparities across different racial and ethnic groups analyzed the correlation between English proficiency, immigration status, and financial sophistication, and examined the effects of financial education on literacy outcomes among these groups. So my research focused on financial literacy deficiencies, specifically in immigrants and non-native English speakers, and the extent in which these factors affect the financial literacy gaps. So I used two major data surveys, the National Financial Capability Study and the Survey of Income and Program Participation. One is a national survey from 2021, around 27,000 participants, and the other's US government census from 2022. And so, kind of the methodology of my research, I analyzed financial literacy with three big indicators. So, scores from financial literacy tests, self-assessments of financial knowledge, and financial sophistication, which is a sort of proxy that I made based on the ownership of different financial products. And I looked at these variables across different demographic groups with a focus on immigrants. And some of the key variables in regards to financial literacy were race, ethnicity, gender, age, education, and income. And then the big ones that have been kind of overlooked are the English language proficiency and the time spent in the United States as an immigrant. So I used multivariate regression analysis run to regress these variables against financial literacy and proficiency, and specifically using ordinary least squares and binary models to see how these factors influence financial literacy. And in doing my research, I looked at existing literature on financial literacy among immigrant populations, which a lot of them focused on general financial education, but none really looked at how language barriers specifically and time in the US influence financial literacy, which this gap helped me shape my own focus of my research. And after exploring these variables and doing my research, some of the key findings were, firstly, there's a very strong correlation between English proficiency and financial literacy, meaning immigrants with higher rated English speaking abilities performed very much a lot higher on the financial literacy tests. And time spent in the United States also had a significant impact on financial literacy. Immigrants who lived in the US for less than 5 years were much less likely to own a bank account, whereas those who have been in the US for 20 or more years had financial literacy levels that were essentially the same as a native-born American. And then the last key finding was that financial education is very, very important for financial literacy. It had a significant impact on the financial literacy tests and assessments, but its impact is different across different demographic groups. So, for example, immigrants with lower English proficiency benefited less from financial education than those who are better with the English language. So, to kind of sum up essentially what I just said is my research shows how English proficiency and time spent in the United States are really key factors in financial literacy of immigrants and non-native speakers in the United States. And what I'll get to in the next slide is by addressing these barriers with financial literacy programs and policy changes, we can kind of help better integrate these groups into the financial system, which would improve their economic security and just well-being in general long term. And what I began to say was, to me, the research that I did made clear the need for tailored financial literacy programs that can help address some of these language and cultural barriers. So I think we should consider, or policymakers should consider developing programs that could both improve English proficiency and financial literacy for struggling immigrants and those who don't speak English as their native language. And I think removing barriers to financial products, like offering a gateway account for a new immigrant, could be beneficial for better and easier and quicker integration into the financial system. And then how all this kind of aligns with the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Uh, Financial literacy isn't just a local issue in the United States. It's really a widespread problem that aligns directly with a lot of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So goal number one is no poverty. And by empowering immigrants and non-native English speakers with financial knowledge, we can significantly reduce economic vulnerability and help kind of break cycles of poverty. And for goal number four, which is quality education, financial education can be inclusive and accessible for underserved communities and just helping promote general higher levels of education and knowledge and understanding of the financial system. Goal number 10, which is reducing inequalities. And I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but my research directly addresses disparities in access to financial tools and education. And then goal eight, which is decent work and economic growth. So because financial literacy supports job stability, entrepreneurship, upward mobility, and just general financial stability among families, it aligns greatly with this goal. And just to kind of wrap it up, it's clear that financial inclusion is a key enabler of many of the development goals. And that's exactly what I aim to do with my research, is create a meaningful impact through education and through inclusion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jack. I just have a question or two, if that's okay.
Sure.
Um, so first, I'm curious, did you need to learn statistics beyond what you learned in school to sort of like run your regressions, or is this something that like anybody who's taken stats can do?
Yeah, that's a great question. There was a bit of learning required to do the regression analysis. So I had a mentor who kind of helped teach me a basic regressional analysis software. It's called Gretel if anyone's interested. But it required a bit of learning outside of what I already know from the classroom. But it wasn't entirely difficult with YouTube videos and the help of my mentor.
Awesome. Very entrepreneurial spirit. Are you going to be studying this topic in college? How does this relate to what you think you're going to major in?
Yeah, so I will be majoring in economics at the University of Pennsylvania, and I hope I will be doing this in the future. My goal is to continue and further this research with the resources of the university, studying economics in college, and also using that to kind of create a meaningful impact in the real world too. So, short answer, yes, I will be continuing this work in the future.
Excellent. And there are a lot of opportunities to do that in Philadelphia, I believe. There's a big population who could benefit from that. Um, Last question, maybe a really big one, but do you think we can actually achieve full financial literacy in America?
That's a really tough question. And as a 16-year-old, I don't know if like if my answer is going to be is going to hold significance, but I think taking one step at a time in getting closer to achieving that goal of full financial literacy is what I hope to do and what I think we should aim for.
Awesome. Great. I don't think we can ask for any fortune telling. So I think that's as great an answer as we can get. Thank you so much, Jack.
Thank you.
All right. Next we have Vikram. Vikram, do you want to share your screen?
Yeah, no problem. So my research paper was just a comprehensive analysis of the rise of NVIDIA stock price. And a couple of these numbers you might have to take with like a little bit of a grain of salt because like recently NVIDIA stock price has done like a little bit worse. But but back then and like last summer, that was when the meteoric rise like was first starting. So yeah, this presentation is just gonna like explore the factors that influenced NVIDIA's stock surge, and we're also analyzing NVIDIA's market strategy and the historical, and it's like really a historical performance. Like just admits like right now the entire world is relying on artificial intelligence or AI, and NVIDIA is a big part of that. So just for some little history and background on it, NVIDIA was founded in 1993 by Jensen Huang. And originally it was just like a niche little player in the booming semiconductor industry at the time. But now it's one of the leading companies in its industry. And also, they were really the first guys to introduce graphics processing units or GPUs, which is now basically how AI is run. And it really just revolutionized computer graphics. And again, as I said, like NVIDIA had a really early market entry because while everyone was like really focusing on other parts of AI and other parts of semiconductors, they were really going all in on GPUs. And now it's really the leader in gaming and AI development. So, like in the past 4 years, as of like August 2024, NVIDIA stock has increased over 2,000%. And there's extremely high demand for GPUs due to their role in AI training. And there's so many major contracts that have NVIDIA just sending out everything that they have. Was like Meta ordered 350,000 H100 graphic processing cards, and that has significantly boosted their revenue expectations, as that order alone is expected to make them over $7 billion. And as you can see from this graph, up until around like 2017, 2018, their stock price really hadn't gone that high. But in the future, it's not as certain because due to NVIDIA's just absolute monopoly over GPUs, a lot of companies are looking to other companies in that sector who are making GPUs because NVIDIA right now has total control of the market. So they're trying to foster some competition. But despite that, NVIDIA still has the best GPUs on the market and also a great like supporting system for their GPUs. But also now that there's a lot more like sort of geopolitical tensions and there's also a lot of market validity right now. So investors are still like a little bit shaky on investing on NVIDIA, especially now, because just over the past 6 months, NVIDIA has gone down 30%. And still, like, because mainly NVIDIA's semiconductors are produced on Taiwan, and there's always the looming threat of China invading it. So it still makes investors have a little bit of cold feet when it comes to investing in NVIDIA. But yeah, just their financial performance has been insane. Like they have reported significant revenue growth and high profit margins. And as of August 2024, their recent earnings have greatly exceeded all of the analyst projections, and their market capitalization has reached $3.3 trillion, which is just great, and it indicates that they have a great market presence. So for future challenges, like just ahead for NVIDIA, they need some strategic decision making to avoid over reliance on a single supplier. Because when it comes to the semiconductor industry, about 95% of all semiconductors are made by one company on Taiwan called the Taiwan Semiconductor Company. So right now, NVIDIA should probably look for alternatives more based in different countries, such as the United States, in order to make sure that they can, like, let's say TSMC is the Taiwan semiconductor manufacturing company is known as, goes defunct. They need a different company so that they can pick up the slack. And also, the one thing NVIDIA does is they don't make custom GPUs. All their GPUs are the same. But right now, a lot of companies are coming out with custom GPUs that can fill niche roles better than NVIDIA's GPUs can do. So they also need to sort of defend themselves on that front. And also, Jensen Huang has been their leader for the past 35 years. Right now, he is a great CEO, but there's so much uncertainty as to whether who the next leader is going to be when Jensen Huang retires, and if he'll ever be as great as the CEO of him. So when it comes to investing, just the total validity of an NVIDIA stock means that you have to be a bit careful when investing in it. Because as I said before, their entire supply is based in Taiwan. And there's a lot of geopolitical instability right now. And also the tariffs that Donald Trump recently put could also potentially impact their profits. And you also have to look at just how the market is signaling and just internal management changes. So as I said, Jensen Huang has been probably one of the greatest CEOs in the 21st century. So when you replace him, you need to be careful as to making sure that the new CEO is going to keep up the good work that Jensen Huang has done. And you also need to just figure out the right moments to withdraw investments. And that's obviously going to lead to more returns. And so how does this align with UN Sustainability Development Goals? So the main SDG that I saw it align with was SDG 9, which focuses on industry, innovation, and infrastructure. So NVIDIA's history revolves around innovation. Part of the reason why they weren't very profitable up until 4 or 5 years ago is because a lot of the money that they made was going into innovating and making better GPUs. Also, NVIDIA's products, semiconductors, are a key part in the infrastructure that SDG 9 wants to upgrade. Because right now, there's so much reliance on AI, and you need NVIDIA's semiconductors to do that. And also, NVIDIA has played an extremely large role in the semiconductor industry and has a huge impact on sectors, like I said before, like AI. So just to conclude, NVIDIA's stock performance is driven by their strategic market dominance and the increasing demand for their GPUs, but uncertainty surrounding AI usage, their new competition, and as for geopolitical factors, could definitely influence future growth. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vikram. Do you mind if I ask you a question or two?
No problem.
So if you know, who do you think is the greatest competitive threat to NVIDIA at this point in time, if there is one?
I don't know right now, but I don't know if it's really changed. I don't think it's changed, but it could have changed. But if it has changed, like if it hasn't changed, then it would probably be it's like a very small company right now, but it definitely could boom because a lot of companies want to go away. But I probably say Intel
Okay, great.
because like their semiconductor thing is very small, but because they make these like custom GPUs, it could always increase if
Great.
there's more demand for it.
That makes a lot of sense. Um, where do you think the company will be in 10 years?
I honestly don't know. If Jensen Huang is still like running the ship, I think they'll still be like a top 10 company and a company you should definitely look out for. But if it's someone else, then I honestly have no idea because they could either bring like a lot of money or they could bring its downfall.
Awesome. Last question. How does this project align with your other academic interests? Is this what you hope to study when once you get to college, or is this sort of like a side interest?
I probably would want to do finance or business in college. So yeah, this is like a great way for me to like sort of like learn like how to invest. Because probably one of my like dream jobs would be to become like an investment banker. So like learning how to invest and learning how to maximize returns is definitely a big part of that job. So this has definitely taught me a lot about that.
Amazing. Great. Well, thank you so much for your presentation. I'm going to change you from panelist to attendee just so you don't have to stay in the spotlight with me any longer. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Perfect. So, one thing that I would like to do before we move on to talking about the winners of the Lil Venture Fund, I just want to kind of close what we've been talking about with the SDGs, actually looking at them again. So you have them in mind when you're thinking about potential projects you would like to run and how they can go beyond just changing your community or your state, your country. Let me share my screen. Okay, so 17 goals. The first one is no poverty. The goal is to end poverty in all its forms everywhere. 2 is zero hunger. The goal is to end hunger, achieve food security, and improve nutrition and promote sustainable agriculture. Good health and well-being. We're supposed to ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages. Goal 4 is quality education. We want to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. Then we have gender equality. Achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. Clean water and sanitation. Ensure availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. Affordable and clean energy. Ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all. Decent work and economic growth. Promote sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment, and decent work for all. Industry, innovation, and infrastructure. Build resilient infrastructure, promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization, and foster innovation. Reduce inequalities within and among countries. Sustainable cities and communities, make them human settlements that are inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. Responsible consumption and production, ensuring sustainable consumption and production patterns. Climate action, take urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts. Life below water, conserve and sustainably use the oceans, seas, and marine resources for sustainable development. life on land, protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems, sustainably manage forests, combat desertification, and halt and reverse land degradation and halt biodiversity loss. Peace, justice, and strong institutions. Promote peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development, provide access to justice for all, and build effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions at all levels. And then partnerships for these goals. Strengthen the means of implementation and revitalize the global partnership for sustainable development. So these are 17 starting points for any projects that you may want to do in the future that you hope can help as many people as possible. As we saw with Jack, you can combine a lot of them. And as we saw with Vikram, you can really focus on one in depth. All right, thank you all for keeping up with me at that point. So now we can move on to what I'm going to guess many of you are here for, which is seeing the award ceremony for the April to November Lil Venture Fund funding cycle. Very quick overview of this funding cycle. This is the fourth run of our global ideation pitch competition, where winners of ideation get funding from LVF. The fifth funding cycle that we've operated in total. The total funds requested via competition entries was approximately a little bit less than $100,000. The total funds awarded were more than normal, so $5,300. All applications are reviewed holistically and separately by two limited partners who evaluate each application independently. Consensus on funding decision and amount is then reached amongst those limited partners. If you want to be one, you can. There are hiring cycles. Just let myself or Maya know at some of the email addresses that you were reached out to with. General partner reviews all recommendations by limited partners to determine final funding decisions and amounts. So though we will have many favorite students in here, they were picked objectively by someone else. So first, Vibrant Waves. Vibrant Waves is a nonprofit organization founded in 2023, driven by a deep passion for understanding the workings of the brain and emotions and their impact on life. The organization focuses on two primary areas: youth mental health and senior cognitive function. The funding will enable Vibrant Waves to significantly enhance its support for senior cognitive health, while also fostering a valuable partnership with the Alzheimer's Association. By focusing on app development, interactive activities, and collaborative initiatives, the organization aims to improve the quality of life for seniors and foster a supportive community environment. We are happy to award Vibrant Waves with $500. The Alios Project. The Alios Project is an international social enterprise founded with a bold mission to restore mangrove ecosystems in Zanzibar through innovative environmental conservation and sustainable economic development. Recognizing the urgent need to address deforestation and environmental degradation, Alios integrates community-driven solutions into a profitable circular economy, empowering local populations through knowledge sharing and collaboration. We are happy to award the Alias Project with $500. Economics for Change. Economics for Change is a student-led organization committed to driving positive change in our local schools and communities. Their curriculum, created by their members, explores the basics of micro and macroeconomics to the complicated multivariable calculus of econometrics. Personal finance classes and business skills are also taught. They partner with schools to educate young students while developing their passions. by providing valuable volunteer and learning experience and opportunities, as well as investigating and exploring the intricacies of economics, finance, and business. They are able to have significant impact on the next generation of citizens. We are happy to award Economics for Change $250. Panther Planet Protectors, a group project. We are happy to award them $300. Unboxed is a mental health and well-being iOS app that employs AI-driven insights, data tracking, and peer support for proactive emotional well-being management and self-serve treatment tools. The project's objective is to provide affordable, tailored mental health treatment through the combination of guided exercises, tailored music therapy, gamified challenges, and predictive analytics to help users build resilience, track their mental state, and gain access to helpful resources. We are happy to award Unboxed $800. Peleneos. This is a company made to address a growing issue in the auto repair industry to reduce the waste generated by slightly damaged car body parts and also promote sustainability by recycling, restoring, and reselling car parts. So we are happy to award them $800. The Diabetic Debrief. This podcast is committed to improving diabetes awareness education, particularly focusing on engaging and educating communities about diabetes management and prevention, and legislation that affects accessibility to diabetes supplies. Since our launch, we've made significant strides towards our goals, they say. They recruited a dedicated team of 4 members skilled in content creation, social media management, and community outreach. They partnered with influential social media accounts such as the Diabetes Link and Diversity in Diabetes, leveraging their platforms to reach a wider audience. They reached a total of 600 plus viewers on all platforms. They established a monthly content schedule that consistently delivers engaging and informative material to their followers. And they scheduled a conference in June with 3 influential members of diabetes research community as their speakers. So we are happy to award them $300. Polyglossus. The purpose of this project is to bring classics learning to more people and change the views of classics being an unapproachable field of study. Ryan posts 3 pieces of Instagram content per week of Latin phrases, Latin uses in daily life, and Latin in Christianity. In addition, he sends a newsletter every month about what's going on with his own Latin learning and tips for beginners at Latin. He also wrote a Latin novella that is already copyrighted and printed and intended to be used in conjunction with a general Latin textbook for extra reading and grammar practice. There's more that you can find on polyglossus.org. And the book is Latin Short Stories, Myth and History for Beginning Latin Students. We are so happy to award this project $300. I took Latin and Ancient Greek in college, so I'm a big fan of this project. Next, real estate analysis. This research project focuses on predicting real estate market trends aimed at understanding factors influencing house prices using data science and visualization techniques. To uncover data-driven insights, they examined 36 numeric variables and 44 categorical variables, including interior features, exterior features, building and lot features, and neighborhood characteristics. Currently, a Streamlit dashboard has been developed to create a dynamic and interactive interface to explore housing data. The dashboard incorporates customizable visualizations such as scatter plots, box plots, histograms, and sunburst charts to clearly and accurately present real estate market trends. We are happy to say that they've won $100. Climanex. Climanex is a solution that uses tailored models to address climate by providing reports to energy providers, insurance companies, and even state entities. Over the past 8 months, Tianle has conducted extensive research on Texas designing large-scale data pipelines and developing high-performance models for long-term projection. One of the flagship contributions, the hybrid Sarima XGBoost model, reached 80 to 90% tolerance accuracy, predicting both generation and consumption trends from 11 meteorological variables. Additionally, he designed a tailored modeling pipeline for probabilistic projection of outages, culminating in a 1,000-trial Monte Carlo simulation of economic losses. Climanex ensures the generalizability of all of their methodologies to scale nationally and globally. So we are very happy to award them $800. InventaBloom. This is a new nonprofit organization dedicated to fostering STEM education and critical thinking skills among children worldwide, starting with refugee camps in Jordan. Their mission is to bridge the educational gap by providing innovative, hands-on learning experiences through STEM-based toy kits. Many refugee children lack access to quality education and opportunities that stimulate creativity, problem-solving, and engineering skills. InventaBloom aims to change this by offering engaging interactive kits that not only entertain, but also educate. And we are happy to say that they've been awarded $200. Congratulations to all of these awardees. You will receive information on funds disbursement and monitoring shortly through email. So stay tuned for that. And we wanted to say welcome to our new incoming limited partners for this cycle, of which there are 10. So if you see your name on this list, congratulations. We're so happy to have you. And special thanks to our outgoing limited partners for their service and helping choose these winners that we have now. Thank you so much to everyone for joining. This From Ideas to Impact student showcase has been really thrilling, I think, and has a unique and inclusive focus. So if you have any questions or you want to reach out to get in contact with any of the students who you saw over the last 2 days, please feel free to let me know or let Maya know. All of our contact information will be made available if you need it. Please reach out. And that is it. Thank you so much. Take care, everyone.